A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn, every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. Well, early in the morning, right between live stream and live stream, be my new recording time. Only time will tell. Anyway, I have another book haul video. Don't know when this one will be posted, but I'm just going to go ahead and just roll right into it. So let's see if I can get them somewhat theme related. Let's do the American history first, I think. So, okay. So for the American history first, I was looking for books. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was looking for images for my book journal entry for Rush, which I had read last year about Dr. Benjamin Rush. And I found what I was looking for, but on the way, I found a book called Friendship and Healing, The Dreams of John Adams and Benjamin Rush, which just sounded interesting to me because I have a great opinion of both of these men. And I look forward to seeing what this author, now apparently it's a psychology book as well as a history book, so I don't know what exactly, where the author is going to, how this author is going to address this friendship. But I like the idea. I like, it's got merit. It's got some potential, I think. So I look forward to this. I don't think I've ever seen anyone else talk about it, but I also hadn't seen anyone else talk about Rush on BookTube until I had read it, which doesn't mean that anyone else hadn't. I just hadn't seen it. Going on with the American history theme, this doesn't really fit there, is White Gold, The Extraordinary Story of Thomas Pillow, and Islam's 1 Million White Slaves. And the reason I'm this actually should count more as British, but in my head I connected it to American simply because I was thinking of, I have a book about Jefferson and his war against the white slavery, but I don't know where that book's at right now. So I think that's why I connected it. It was something about the something pirates. Can't remember. Anyway, so that's what I was thinking of when I marked this as American. It seemed to actually be British and then Islam. This was recommended to me by Ariane. Haven't read it yet. I'm not quite sure when I picked this up because most of my book hauls are kind of like spread through a long period of time and just haven't gotten around to showing these books. I'm working through a lot of backlog of videos, and also will make a bunch of videos at one time and then go a long period of time without recording, and that's what's happened with these book haul videos. But yeah, look forward to reading this eventually. Now, the other one that is truly American history is Abigail Adams. I don't know. Oh, I think it was something in the Historathon Discord. Someone mentioned something about, My Dearest Friend. And I said, oh yeah, that's a great book. I really enjoyed it. Then I mentioned that I was reading John Quincy Adams by Unger. Harlow Giles Unger. I was actually reading a bit of it this morning. And someone else mentioned, hey, there's a really good book on Abigail Adams out. And this was the one that they mentioned. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's just wrap up, the main three of that family and go into her, because she seemed to be quite the personality based off of the letters between her and John. and just the bit that she's popping up in John Quincy. So I look forward to reading more about her, although I'm sure that some of it will be quite familiar because I've read My Dearest Friend. I will be reading eventually John Adams. I'm supposed to be reading it now, but, I'm finishing up John Quincy Adams. And then, of course, I'm reading John Quincy right now. Actually, let's bring John Quincy back in view because I have in book haul another Unger book, Lafayette. This was actually, I think I already had this by audiobook, but this was another Arion mentioned like John Quincy Adams was, and I decided I wanted the physical. So I've been wanting to read more about Lafayette, and I look forward to doing so eventually. I am enjoying John Quincy Adams, so that bodes well for this book. Now, moving away from American history, by Simon Schama, and this I picked up at Thrift Books. This is called The Embarrassment of Riches, an interpretation of Dutch culture in the Golden Age. And I'm hoping it's going to address some of the imagery, like the symbolism and some of the imagery in the artwork, as well as the culture itself. I don't actually know a lot about this era. I took a Great Courses lecture, or not just one lecture, a Great Courses course on the Dutch Masters. I didn't end up finishing it because it actually technically wasn't mine. I had purchased it from my dad as a gift, but at that time, if you purchased someone a DVD, you got the digital form as well. So I kind of gave myself a gift too. So, but there's stuff about the imagery in there. Plus, I can't remember what I learned from that and then what I learned from my dad, who is very much of a fan of the Dutch masters. And I think a lot of what I know outside of the Great Courses class is from him. And I also was fortunate enough that when I went to Boston for an award ceremony for my work, at that time I was still working in the hospital. They sent me to Boston, and they had an exhibit of the Dutch masters while we're in Boston. Just happened to be it. Oh, so excited. It just worked out perfectly. I mean, people looked at me like I had two heads when they were talking about like all the stuff that they were doing, like when they had a free moment here or there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to museum exhibit for art, and it's going to be so cool. And they're kind of like, what's wrong with you? But I know there's more to this era than the Dutch masters, and I look forward to learning more about it. But yeah, this is cool. I wonder who the artist is in the front. Does it tell me? Maybe it's in the back. Okay, cover painting by John, I don't know, Steen, the burgher of Delft, and his daughter. So, yeah, it didn't look like Rembrandt or anything to me. But, okay, now, even more thematically, just checking the time. Sweet, I'm still doing good on time. This is the fault of, I read it, I want to say it was in July. I read a book called The Women Who Saved Catholic England. And although I had my issues, and I did a review on it, although I had my issues with the way that it was written, I enjoyed the material itself very much. And I ended up picking up a few books based on that book. And I'll just go in order. I'm probably going to end up knowing way more than I had anticipated about events leading into the events of that book. So I think the first one that I picked up was the one by that author. And honestly, I know that I will probably have some issues with the way that this is written because I had issues with the way that he wrote The Woman Who Saved Catholic England. But he'd still managed to make the information, for the most part, stick in my head. So I wanted to give his the gunpowder plot deceit a chance. So I am going to read this. Like I said, I do prepare myself that there might be aspects of his writing style that I won't enjoy, just like for his last book that I read. But I'm going into that with that knowledge, so it won't irritate me quite as much, hopefully, because of that. Then I also ended up picking up Antonia Fraser's Faith and Treason, the story of the gunpowder plot. And Antonia Fraser is a well-known name in, historical circles. I have several of her books. And she also is a member of the Detection Club. And even though I haven't touted it a lot recently, in October, November, December, so in that last quarter of the year, we are doing the readathon for the Detection Club that my mom and I are starting. It's my little brainchild. It's the mysteries, Golden Era mysteries are the whole reason I got onto BookTube in the first place. So just so you know, she is a member of the Detection Club, was a member of the Detection Club, which is kind of cool. So you could read Faith and Treason and have it count as a Detection Club readathon book. And so, yeah, I know I must have read one of hers. I'm not sure which one I would have read if I have read one of hers. I know I own several of hers. And I've never read any of her mysteries. Okay, then I have by Alice Hogg, God's Secret Agents, Queen Elizabeth's Forbidden Priests, and the Hatching of the Gunpowder Plot. So, I mean, just what it says on the cover. I don't know anything about the author or other than what's right on here. I don't know anything else about like her angle going at the book. I get the idea maybe that she might run a bit more pro-Catholic. I did read someone saying that Antonia Fraser, while being balanced for the most part, did seem to skew pro-Catholic. And this author, though not Catholic himself, just from the other book, did seem to have a bit of a pro-Catholic bent, but that might have been my way of reading him. There were things that he would say that were not as, so he seemed to be pretty balanced. But we'll see what I find the skew to be of these three books when I come at them. Now, this was one of the sources that this author used when writing The Women Who Saved Catholic England. And this is St. Nicholas Owen, Priest Holemaker by Tony Reynolds. This is the only book that I was able to find on him, and this was the one that the author used as a source. Funny enough, when I mentioned his name to my dad had already heard of him through a podcast, and apparently he is a favorite of my dad's. I had never heard of him until I read about him in July, but apparently my dad really likes him as a saint, so I might let him read it after I'm done, but he can't keep it. Maybe I'll find him a Kindle version because he prefers reading it on Kindle. Although I don't know if this is one of those books that's available on Kindle. Some of the books that I like aren't. Or they are, but it's like a stupid, ridiculous price. I don't know if that's the case for this, though. But this is the guy who, as it says, would build the priest holes. He wasn't a priest himself. He was just a really smart guy at making these holes that were really, like, they have discovered holes of his, they believe to be his, that were not sprung until many, eons later. And you could still see the altar set up, which is crazy. But yeah, look forward to reading this as well. He was a martyr, spoiler alert. And so that's part of how he got his canonization, was his martyrdom for his for his running with the priest, and for the fact that, honestly, although I don't know if they ever figured out that was him who built all the priest holes. Otherwise, I think that they would have tortured him even more for that information, because he's invaluable. He was invaluable. So, yeah, so that is the last book haul I plan on recording for a little bit. I do have other books that I've gathered, but I think that I want to record a few other different kinds of videos, put some space between, this and the next book haul video. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you have a very blessed day, and I will see you the next time that I put up a video. God bless. Bye.
Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.